Two women. One spent 24 years as a nurse in intensive care and operating theatres. The other, an accredited mental health social worker supporting people through trauma. Like us, many of you have lived inside the systems and have your own lived and living experiences. We're not telling you our names just yet, but we will tell you why we're here. There's a wound for frontliners that workplaces won't name, and it's not just burnout, it's moral injury. What happens when the system forces you to choose between your conscience and your calling? We've lived it. Our differences are what creates unity, and the conversations that heal happen between peers. That is what Between Peers is all about.
What are we doing today?
Oh, I thought that we might do dating and relationships, and I think this is going to be a two-parter because I found a couple of different ones that are like, obviously one for social work and one for nursing, but I think that there's definitely some overlap there. So yes, okay. So, but also two very different problems with dating. I think,
cool.
That are relevant to both professions in their own way. So the first one actually is called Dating Life, and it's from 4 months ago.
So it's in the Reddit Nursing Australia page.
Yes, yeah, which is different than some of the ones we've done beforehand. So this is a little bit exciting. So hello, my lovely fellow healthcare workers. I'm a single female, 31 nurse living in Melbourne. Hello, Melbourneites. Having absolutely no luck on the dating apps, I'm just wondering how other single nurses are going trying to find a relationship, especially while doing shift work. I've been told to get into hobbies, but I find it quite hard with my work schedule. For example, I can't commit to something that's on every Thursday, etc. I'm just genuinely, after a long-term relationship, and feeling a bit disheartened about the whole process. And then there's a little note at the end which says, I work in the private system, our EBA, which is Enterprise Bargaining Agreement, which is a collective employment agreement, but you can Google it, means we usually only get our roster 2 weeks in advance, if that. My manager doesn't allow us to have select days off or make too many roster requests. So what's your perspective on that?
Okay, so lived experience, both, I'm going to be honest here, Melbourne, that's where I was born and bred, and now I'm in Queensland, but have also worked in New South Wales, more country New South Wales than Sydney itself. All I can tell you is it's a minefield, and it doesn't matter if we're talking 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, or 4 months ago. Nothing's changed. Full stop, like nothing has changed. So my lived experience in these industries has been where you are, doesn't matter if it's private or public, it's irrelevant. You get, well, for me, 3 shifts in 4 weeks as what you call a rostered day, that whatever you put down, you get. Like it's
a guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Or is it organisation you're with, or your EBA or something like that?
It was, you could request, we used to call it a red R. Okay, so the red R, you got 3 red R's to put down on your roster, except that wasn't guaranteed, like if it was Christmas, because that's different. But in a 4-week roster, you could have 3 red R's that you could request, and they'll do their damnedest to honour that for you.
Technically, but not necessarily.
Nothing's 100% guaranteed. Okay. So in that scenario, you got literally that. Then there was this subcategory where you could do a second little, as stupid as it sounds, a second little, like small R, pencil R against a shift, if possible, would you consider? But you could suggest, but there was no guarantees, because what they do is they try and do all the red R's first to see how that roster looks like if they honour all the red R's and if that's even doable, and then they backfill from that, meeting all the EVA agreements and the contract agreements, but based on sort of roster, AM and PM and night shifts and anything else in play.
I imagine rostering in those situations would be a nightmare.
Absolutely.
Whoever's doing it.
Absolutely.
Well.
There's no easy answer, genuinely. And the more staff, the bigger the headache, in honesty, because then you've got to factor so many more working parts.
Yeah.
All I know is from a theatre and an ICU perspective, it was horrific. I don't know about the emergency department, because I never went into the emergency departments as a backfill, like there wasn't enough work in theatres and we were seconded for the shift to another department, because that's what happens in the industry. You're employed by the hospital. So for an example, one stage when I was employed by Queensland Health,
Yeah.
if say there's a natural disaster in play,
You don't get a
you
choice.
can't get to, if you can't get to your hospital, you can be routed to another hospital to work the shift.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so with that mental mindset in play, that's what we deal with here. They do try and do the shifts, but 3 shifts is not a lot. You
No.
can't even swapping shifts between peers to find someone of your equal standing to swap a shift was extremely difficult and challenging because, you know, more often than not, you end up socializing with each other as a survival mechanism because no one gets what you're going through, whether it's roster, whether it's friendships, dating, anything. It seems to be this incestuousness where you just stick together as a cohort or as a group. Genuinely, that's what happens.
Because, yeah, that's the other thing that really stood out to me in that post, like not even being able to do regular hobbies. So, you know, like if you want to go and, I know this is going to sound silly, but if you want to go and learn to cook Italian food, you can't commit to a class.
But that's even sports. A lot of people couldn't do sports. So let alone dating. So you have to decide what's more a priority to you. So for an example, if you wanted to play like some of the in theatres and in ICUs, a lot of the staff were very much sport activated to get the adrenaline out of their body. It was part of their self-care. Okay.
Yeah.
And as a result, you know, you can't go play touch football. You couldn't guarantee to the team if you'd be available or not, or if you had to work a double shift because all of a sudden someone called in sick.
I think it'd be very hard even to organise with friends that, you know, don't work in the field to go and meet up for coffee, let alone friends that do work in the field in another hospital to try and get your shifts to match or your time off to match.
Very hard. It's very unrealistic. That's why predominantly first responders or anyone on the front line tend to date similar people who have understanding around that as a concept.
I don't even know how, I mean, from a social work perspective, and we'll talk about that probably in the next one, but, you know, like from a first responders / nursing / actual healthcare perspective, how do you talk about what you do and how do people have an understanding about what you do? I mean, like, see, I mean, I've only got TV as an example, and we all know that's true, but not. You're there working on a wound or a traumatic event or, you know, in the cancer ward, or do you know what I mean? Like whatever your space is that you're in, that is such a unique area that you work in, whatever it is, that I think if you haven't worked in it, you cannot imagine what that's like. And so how do you get compassion and understanding and validation from your partner or potential partner or dating partner when you know you do something that's really, really difficult? Or even in a new relationship, how does someone have understanding of the fact that you might have to cancel dates early on, and it's not because of them, it's just because you don't have the spoons, or you've had a hard day, or you want to curl up in a ball and cry.
or you know, all of a sudden you're on a date and then you got called into work.
Yeah.
Because you're the on-call. And it's happened. This is real life examples.
Yeah.
And let alone dating someone, and let's just say for argument's sake, again, this is my lived experience, anyone else there will have other experiences, please chime in, but you could be literally cleaning up body fluids or doing something that is churning on the tummy, doesn't matter what it is. I mean, cleaning up vomit, cleaning up poo, right? You know, that you know, sounds and smells, and then you're expected to be relieved and go to lunch.
Yeah.
Right?
Or I'd mention you've got a shift that's run over, you're supposed to be getting ready for a date, and you're like, I've got to scrub this crap off me, literally.
Absolutely. And
you can't feel sexy after that. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. But it's not even that. It's you then, for your own nervous system regulation, you want to stand down to the shower and just wash that shit away. Yeah. Like the energy, the feel, the vibe, that you can't describe it. It's just, you just want to wash it away because it's taken its toll on your nervous system, and you want to stay under the shower longer. you want to do that linger longer sort of thing, because, you know, if you've had a rough day or someone's passed away or you've been abused or physically assaulted in the workplace, because it has happened in my workplace.
Regularly, I imagine.
Absolutely. But then again, I was working ICU and relieving in emergency department and working in theatres. But yeah, absolutely. It unfortunately is a practice that does occur. And with that insight and that knowledge in play, it takes a while for your nervous system. You can't just go, yeah, she'll be right, mate. I'm going to go off on a date, and then all of a sudden, how you doing? And trying to eat a steak, and you're just thinking, I just cleared up this guts for garters earlier today because, you know, someone coded. Yeah, it's not relatable. And so if you then get a group of nurses together or a group of first line responders together, police officers, ambos, nurses, any of that together, they could talk really, really shit talk, literally, and everyone else's stomach would be churning and going, why are you talking about that shit across the dinner table? And you're looking at them going, mate, you have to actually disassociate and be able to do this, because this is how we survive. Because otherwise we're going to be the next patient in the bed beside us. We've got no choice. We've had to learn to do this. Yeah. It's part of our requirement, and the cost to our nervous system is what it is.
Yeah. I was talking to someone the other day about a life experience of mine, and it was just something that I thought was normal, and I was telling it as a factual thing of this happened and this happened and this happened. And then they were like, oh my God, are you okay? And I was like, really surprised that they were asking me if I was okay, because it was just a fact. And I was like, oh, hang on a minute, I think I trauma dumped on someone, you know.
But if you think about it, if you really think about it, is that what we're doing in our professional capacity, unfortunately and unaware? Are we doing this and therefore then creating disassociation?
I suppose there's two things. You've got disassociation, which is a mental health condition, and then I suppose you've got your decompartmentalization, where you just put it in another section of your brain and close that part off. So I guess it depends on which one you mean.
Could you even do a combination of both?
Yeah, potentially.
Because all I know is that we don't think about things, and it's not until we get in the car and on the way home, depending on what the issue is or what happened in the workspace, do you actually get the capacity to go, oh fuck, that was fucked up?
Yeah. So I guess that's decompartment.
So how the hell, when you're in that mindset, are you supposed to be lovey-dovey and attempt to date?
Yeah.
Let alone find anyone, because you're mentally exhausted from that whole experience. And let's be honest, you know, are you wanting a hookup or are you really wanting to date? Now this person here, according to this, was actually looking at physically the dating aspect.
Yeah, a long-term relationship.
But you know, at the end of the day, I mean, if you look at the points, did you read any of the comments below?
No, I didn't.
Some of them were suggesting doctors, right?
But then that just feeds into the do you know what I mean? The erotica porn.
Oh my God, but well, forget even that, but what about the fact that, as someone pointed out here, turned around and said, hang on, doctor schedules, especially the newies, are actually even worse. Their schedule's even worse, right? And what else? Then there's another one.
Oh, this one's hilarious. You could ask friends to set you up, and then they're like, my brother is in Melbourne, 33, tall, Latino and single. They're like trying to set her up in the comments.
Oh my God. Hang on, and then go, hey, read that. But I don't know how you would want to feel about being set up over the internet, lol. But maybe some of your friends might have single brothers, cousins and friends.
But then also that's awkward as well, because then what if that relationship doesn't work out? How does that impact your friendship with the person that set you up? Like, there's so many layers to it, you know, and it doesn't get past the schedule. And I guess one of the things that really hit me about that is the dating apps, right? So she's talking specifically about the dating apps and not having much luck on them. And I think there's that whole dating app culture where she's possibly too hard because of her roster and her schedule, so they can't find time to meet up. So okay, next. You know what I mean? There's always another person on the dating app.
But is that then literally what social media has created? You know, that just swipe.
Yeah.
Swipe. Too hard, swipe.
Yeah.
Too hard, swipe. But going back to what you said before, I know for a fact that at one stage, due to my own life, I was single and I was on the dating apps at one particular stage. And as soon as you put down former nurse or nurse, oh my God, it automatically brought in the thought processing from the masculine into the, oh, you're a dirty nurse. You know, and that fantasy, which you mentioned before. And it's like, what the? Like, how did we go from, hello, my name is, versus, are you that sexy nurse? Like, how far into, would you do this for me and do that for me? Or do you do dirty stuff? Could you,
right, yeah.
Oh my God, could you imagine that? Like, oh.
We're people first. Like, we've got emotions and we have needs for valid human connection, whether it's friendships, because it's clearly
it's even friendship based, regardless,
or romantic relationships.
And apparently, if you keep reading further down, the actual comments, Kiwi Zuma turned around and said, yeah, it's hard. They're struggling with something similar and fear will only get worse as they age. And they thought that Melbourne would be a great dating scene, but no, with a question mark. So apparently not. Some people have been single, 4 or 5 years.
I feel like dating in Melbourne, I mean, I know would be like Sex in the City, like in New York, because there's so many people to choose from. I'm not willing to put in the work, especially in the beginning.
I've got to tell you this while we have time. So someone else put another comment down, right? The Butcher Assistant 93. He said, I'm in the same boat as a 32 male nurse wanting something long term. Apps are essentially pay to win for men and are like applying for a job in a recession on a free version for no such luck. Even pulling the male nurse line doesn't work, though they're more successful when I was a soldier. I've tried to ask out co-workers, from fellow nurse to even cute female surgical registrar. She wasn't interested and I had to scrub for her for an entire week, so that's on me. All my nerdy niche hobbies are male dominated, so dead end there, and I still love being gay with the boys though. As a man in my 30s, all co-workers my age are either in long-term relationships or married with children, and I see all the young Gen Z girls and new grads as my little sisters. It's funny because all my non-nursing friends think I'm drowning in women, but they don't understand it's all circumstantial.
Yeah, and I think we've said this in another post, but don't shit where you eat. And like how awkward, and our professions are really small. We know everyone. Like you might be working at this hospital and ask someone at this other hospital out on a date and it might go well, or it might end up in a breakup or awkwardness or whatever. There's no guarantee in a couple of months, a couple of years that you're not going to be working in the same place.
No, absolutely.
Or that one of you is going to have some power of the other one to do with applying for a job.
And that's the thing, like you really, really don't know and can't judge.
It's a small world.
In any profession though, it really, really is. But I think the frontline workers have a different level of issues in play, and that's literally their availability to be able to do anything and the mental capacity to connect with people if they've had a traumatic day. And new people on the block won't understand what sort of the day they've had if they're not ready to talk about it. Like nothing you want to do is you walk in the door, say you're dating someone and you walk in the door and it's like, how's your day, blah blah blah, miss happy joy.
Yeah,
when you've laid out a body and you're not feeling happy joy, and all you want to do is scull a shot of something neat, and then go have a shower. Mechanisms, take a swig of whiskey or something like that, or JD, then go have a shower and literally scrub your day, curl up, and then an hour or two later go, okay, I'm now ready to engage in conversation.
Well, that's sort of my next question around this, and I think it would be more so in your profession and other more first responders, frontline worker type stuff, is that trauma bond. Like I imagine, for example, and again, this is from TV, so it's got to be true, like police officers or something like that are forced to work really closely together and they're going out to really traumatic stuff, and that forms a trauma bond. Do you know what I mean? The same in nursing or in the hospital scene, where you're actually dealing with dealing with quite highly traumatic situations, and it's creating that bond between the professionals in that space.
Absolutely.
The same
'cause
with soldiers. It's some social workers and yes, other professions as well. But when you've got that trauma bond, that can create something that you might not see people's red flags, or like reasons that you might not want to date. You might feel like there's ultimate connection that might not be real. It's just that you were both present for this trauma.
Because is any connection a reason, a season, or a lifetime? And maybe it's a reason or a season because of the work environment and the work situation. It may not be a lifetime.
But I think when you have that trauma bond, it's harder. I think it becomes more enmeshed, is what I'm saying, and it's harder to pull that bond apart and realise when things aren't working. And then what trauma responses have you both got out of that? Do you know what I mean?
Because of the enmeshment itself.
Yeah, because of the enmeshment, and also the way that I guess you're coping with life stuff. It might not be so healthy when you're dealing
with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and you're constantly in a traumatic environment. There's got to be some sort of PTSD or complex PTSD that might be in play for some of that.
All right, well, I'm going to read a last comment and then we'll probably cut this very soon. But one of the last comments is actually exactly what we're saying. Running with Birds turned around and wrote, nah, it's bleak and I have hobbies and I don't work shift work.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not just even an industry thing. Maybe it's because life is so hard at the moment and the challenges of life is so hard at the moment and people are working more than one job potentially in some cases because of the cost of living, that people just have no spoons left.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So I think dating in general at the moment is hard. I mean, we know that, but I think it can be harder for people that are in our industries. Yeah.
And then couple that to the cost of living and life and or anything else that's going on at the time.
Yeah.
But on that note, everyone outside there in the land of the living, if you'd like to leave comments and messages and add in conversation and content to what we're currently discussing, please do so that we can turn around and continue on creating incredible content. But in the meantime, if you need Lifeline,
13, 11, 14.
Yay, we got it right. And other than that, please take care. Like, we understand how tough it is. We're the lived experiences of what's going on, and we really, really genuinely hope that some of these stories are resonating and that are giving you solace that you're not alone in this journey. And as I affectionately call it, in this shit show, we understand, we really do, and we hope to see you in the next one. And on that note, we're going to say the number again, and the
13, 11, 14.
and on that, see you in the next one.